incredible people at Viper Recordings. My name's Joanne. I work for a charity called Music Support, and we support anyone in the UK music industry with their mental health or with addiction challenges. And drum and bass community, we need your help. Never before have we seen a pandemic like this, which has meant our industry is ground to a halt, and people need us, and we would love for you to be a part of their journey of getting well. So if you'd like to visit our website at musicsupport.org and donate anything you can, it would be gratefully appreciated. And we hope to see you all on a dance floor very soon. Thanks for having us.
Yo, what is up? My name is Max. I also go by CLB as my DJ alias. I'm super excited to be a part of this. I don't know about you guys, but all these sets so far have been fantastic. I'm super grateful to be a part of it. So shout out Viper for putting this all together for a great cause. Shout out all the artists that are playing because it's been phenomenal so far. And yeah, like I said, I'm just super excited to be a part of this. I do have a DJ session lined up for you guys. Gonna play some of my own tunes, as well as some tunes from my friends, some other great artists, just some stuff that I'm digging at the moment, just kind of loose, whatever. So I just want to jump into it right away, but beforehand, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of thirsty and I'm kind of in a party mode. So what I want to do beforehand is just show you guys one of my favorite cocktails to make, especially while I'm DJing. Just, you know, a nice little drinky poo before we jump into this. So I have my items prepared. It's super simple. I'm a vodka guy, so that's kind of what I like to drink most nights. So I just want to start off with this. So I like Tito's if you're from America. It's fantastic. It's a little more expensive, but it's definitely worth it. So let's just start with this real quick. A little bit more should do. Okay. All right. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and put this right here. Screw this cap on. Then take the juice of your choice. I'm doing a little mango. Feeling a little bit fun and tropical this afternoon. So let's go ahead. I want to get the balance just right. I think that looks about sufficient. So yeah, there's my favorite cocktail. I got to come up with a cool name for it. But that's what I like to drink. Gonna get me through this DJ set. I hope you guys are drinking along with me, having a good time. If you don't drink, you know, good for you. I'm kind of an alcoholic, so let's just jump into that. Yeah, so let me go ahead. I'm gonna put this over here. This is my high quality camera stand tripod thing. Also that we have a very high production value over here in my studio. So yeah, let's just get into the music real quick. So let's put this here. Before we get into this, well, I guess first off, you know what? Cheers to everybody watching. That's not very good. I guess second of all, I do apologize for the angles here due to the physical limitations of my studio. We either have the ass cam or the crotch cam, so pick your poison. It's the best we can work with today. So, you know, if you like your DJs extra thick, you've come to the right place, got the right camera angles. Yeah. Let's just get into the music, I guess.
You seek love only vanity, and no love for humanity shall fade away, fade away. He who checks for only wealth and not for his physical health shall fade away, fade away. He who seeks love only vanity and no love for humanity shall fade away, fade away. He who checks for only wealth and not for his physical health shall fade away, fade away. The rich is getting richer every day, and the little that the poor man got, it shall be taken away. Do you hear what I say?
Nothing, he never arrived.
Yes, we did a warn him, but him never listen, make John crowd them yam him. We did a warn him, yes, we did a warn him, but him never listen when me call him. Why say him have a pump and him have a lot of action, so me use intelligence and disarm him. The mount of black crane fall down pan him house, stop you would have feel said the sky was falling. Brother please, them shopping at you singing like a beast. No tissue can't stop me shotty from the scenes. Say you have a big machine but it no bigger than this. Boom up your last start, you no bad like this. You know you the bad guy, that's I. No time with no friend in Faber and Spy. The last why we test barrow fly. It's too late now, you're too cry. They did a warn him, yes we did a warn him, but him never listen, make John call them yam him. We did a warn him, yes we did a warn him, but him never listen when me call him. Why say him have a gun and him have a lot of...
Shut up, go on this one. This one's fucking crazy.
Why say him have a pump and him have a lot of action, so me use intelligence and disarm him.
This
Blessings fall by my right hand. But thank God for the journey, the earnings are just for the plus. And gratitude is a must. Yeah, me see blessings fall by my right hand. But thank God for the journey, the earnings are just for the plus. And gratitude is a must. Yeah, me go on with it. That's how our blessings upon me. And send me to tell you my story. That's how our blessings upon me. And that's how I made it give him the joy. I breathe, I'm delighted. You know, say my passion ignited. Got the music, get me excited. Coming like a potion. Blessings fall by my right hand. But thank God for the journey, the earnings are just for the plus. And gratitude is a must. Yeah, me see blessings fall by my right hand. Bust a toast for the friends that take off every load. One time did sit down in a class and we bored them. When they said the road and me go on with the road. Third form, me say me try a thing. And you know it formed up to be a fire thing. Now up on stage with credit fire thing. Yeah, see me all dig it soon, get the higher ring. Like hello, brother, you say I just shot ya. Saw your poster, spectacular photo. Keep it burning, yes, that's the motto. If me the butter pass through your soul to can't ball in a life, man. Me have to thank God for the journey, the earnings are just for the plus. Yeah, and gratitude is a must. Yeah, me see blessings fall by my right hand. Bust a toast to the friends we take off every load. One time did sit down in a class and we bored then. Only said the road and me go on with it, me go on with it. That's how our blessings upon me. And send me to tell you my story. That's how our blessings upon me. And that's how I made it give him the glory. I'm delighted. Jah knows say my passion ignited. Blessings all for my life and
What a fucking classic. Seriously, I could listen to this song fucking every day. I do listen to this song every day. Shout out Hazard.
Never die. Break. Back in the days I knew rap would never die. Break. Never die. Break. Back in the days I knew rap would never die. Break.
Take you to the candy shop.
Did a new one for myself called Midnight Dub. Really stoked about this one. I have really great music in my life. It's one of those ones that can together 4 hours. I'm really excited about it too. Hope you all have some fun. I am. Should probably finish this. You would think it gets better by the drink, but each sip is even worse than the last one.
In the language the addicts use.
Hello to the drum and bass community of the world, enjoying this fantastic 24-hour stream brought to you by the incredible people at Viper Recordings. My name's Joanne. I work for a charity called Music Support, and we support anyone in the UK music industry with their mental health or with addiction challenges. And drum and bass community, we need your help. Never before have we seen a pandemic like this, which has meant our industry is ground to a halt, and people need us, and we would love for you to be a part of their journey of getting well. So if you'd like to visit our website at musicsupport.org and donate anything you can, it would be gratefully appreciated. And we hope to see you all on a dance floor very soon. Thanks for having us.
Hi, this is Giganti, and I'm here just to take you through a really quick tutorial on how I made this short track using only the samples from the new Viper Pack Volume 2. So I'll quickly play the track and then we'll start going through it. Okay, cool. So let's start at the beginning, because that's always a good place to start. And the track started with these two sort of synth and RP loops. So I'll just play those for you. Okay, so the first loop, if I just turn off all these effects, sounds a bit like this. It was a bit sort of stretched and artifacty. That's because it is. It started like this. So you can hear straight away it's in a different key. This is in B flat, and the track is in F, because every drum and bass song is in F. So yeah, all I've done is used Logic's transpose here, no fancy shenanigans there. Then just a bit of reverb, just adds quite a lot of space and room, and EQ, which is just acting as a bit of a filter, so I've just turned off. Then some side EQ just down the bottom, just to get rid of any sort of stereo information messing about there, and a DJM filter, which is what's cutting out the lows towards the end of the loop. Great little plug-in for things like that. That's something I often do before drops, maybe not that extreme, but if you sort of subtly get rid of the bottom end before it drops, it helps to create a bigger impact when it does. And then next is this sample, which didn't need its key change, so literally drop and drag in this one, and again I've just got a DJM filter doing a similar thing, and another EQ, just taking some of the bottom end out, and the sounds of this. Just skip along a little bit. Okay, and that's how the idea started. So really quick, sort of 4 or 5 minutes, and we're good to go. Now, the rest of the intro is really, really simple. Just a hi-hat. It's literally just doing that. And then all these effects. I'll just solo these for you. Okay, and that rises up to the drop. So the effects are what's creating all the energy and impact in the intro, and that's often the case. Sometimes, say if you've got an ARP loop, that can sort of give you lots and lots of energy, but normally it's all the rises and little effects like this sort of click-clack effect here. They help make a big difference. So if we took that out of the intro, for instance, sounds okay, but if we just had that back in, just adds a bit more interest, and you're not sat waiting for things to happen. It's just and more often than not, your listener won't really notice these things, but they make a big difference. Now this little bit over here is a riser made out of this sample. I've just taken the end part of it, and if I take all the effects off, sounds of this. Okay, so it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's a riser, but we could make it a bit more interesting and turn it into this. Okay, so that's during the drop, just sort of little mini risers to sort of every 8 bars to create that tension and release. So what I've done here is a bit of EQ, just taking out the bottom end. Use this plugin, Little Alter Boy by Sound Toys. I use this thing all the time. You can get some really, really weird effects. So that's sort of, if I take these two off, that's sort of doing this. I'll change this. All sorts of crazy nonsense. A really, really good plugin. I think it's fairly cheap as well, if not free. So go and check that one out. Then a bit of side EQ again, because the only downside to this Alter Boy is it does make everything really, really wide, sort of wider than you want it sometimes. So it just sort of brings everything to the center a bit more. And then finally, this Track Spacer plugin, something I use all the time again. I've sidechained this to the kick. So what this is it's basically a sort of a sidechain plugin, but you can choose the frequencies that you're selecting, and you get this sort of effect. So you can use it for things like that, or on your sub. It's really useful between sort of synths and vocals as well. I'll give you a lot of room. Great plugin. Definitely go and check that one out. Okay, so that pretty much covers the intro. The only other things we've got are this kick roller. So nothing fancy there. I'm using a gain plugin to automate the volume. That's just to make my life a little bit easier when I'm later on down the line. Say if I wanted to change the volume of the track, I'm not messing about with automation too much. And then just before the drop, we have this strange sound. Okay, so that started life like this, and then I've just added Alter Boy again and a Valhalla delay, so that sounds like this. Okay, just to make it sound nice and weird, and then we work our way into the drop. So let's just give ourselves a few bars in. Okay, so let's start with the drums. So let's just solo those. and they sound like this. Alright, so let's start with the kick and snare. They are from one continuous loop, which I've then chopped up, so I've got control of each hit. So here's the kick on its own. And notice I don't have any processing on that, even on the bus. I've got an EQ there, but it's not actually doing anything. So that's just straight out of the loop, and that's nice and easy. Something that I like to do is, either if I've created my own or from sample packs, it's really useful just to have things you can drop and drag straight into your project, and you don't need to spend 7 or 8 hours working on transients, etc. So same for the snare. So the only thing you notice there is these last two are slightly shorter. That's just to help add a bit of groove to the entire loop. So for instance, if we just played these three, just helps add a bit of a movement to the groove there. So yeah, that's the kick and snare. Really easy, saves a lot of time. Okay, on to the next bit. Again, just straight sampling. Really nice sort of cymbal thing. This has got a compressor on it, and it's just side chaining against the snare. Just help create a bit of room and a bit of movement. But all these little bits of room that create through your track, later on down the line when you get to your mastering stage, they'll make a big difference. Just getting these tiny little dBs of headroom. And then another loop. So that, and then this one. Okay, and then the only other thing is this shaker over here. Alright, so this actually started as a full drum loop, and what I did was take the little shuffle hits in between kicks and snares and then just EQ out the bottom end. So if I take the EQ off, you can hear how it sort of sounded before, and then EQ back on. There we go, and you get yourself a nice little shaker. So that's something else I do quite a lot, is start with a sample one way and then chop it up, affect it, reverse it, whatever you want to do to make your own little thing. So the only other thing I've done to the drums, if I show you the mixer over here, is I've got a parallel feed coming in. So on its own, that sounds like this. So it's basically just a really crashed version of the drums. So I take these off. It's really, really quiet. So the first thing I've added on is this radiator plugin from Soundtoys again. Really rate Soundtoys stuff. If you've got the money, highly recommend getting these, and I think they're actually on sale at the moment. So yeah, go and get them. But that does this. So sounds really good on its own actually. But what I've done then is added this compressor, just sort of softening the transients a little bit. And washing it out slightly as well. That's because when I feed it back into the main channel, you don't want the transients fighting with each other. And then all I've done is taken off the bottom end a little bit. All right, so if we play the drums without that in, and add them back, you can hear straight away it adds quite a bit of difference. So if we play it with the whole track, alright, so it's subtle, but it is adding quite a bit of energy to the drums. And this is a technique I use in pretty much every track. Is I'll get my drums sounding good, so I'll be like this. Yeah, got a bit of a groove. But then to take your drums to the next level, if you then just feed the signal back in, what I've done here is each bus, so you've got a bit of control as to what goes in to these. Feed the drums back in, and it really sort of lifts the whole thing. And you can do that with your bass, you can do it with anything, but I find it's really, really useful on the drums. Alright, so let's move on to our bass sounds then. Now, all of these bass sounds are just tiny little snippets of samples, and I've split them into mid bass and sub bass. So the sub is just a carbon copy, and I've just filtered out the high end. So let's start with the mid bass. Okay, so most of these first hits all came from this sample. And then I've just sort of pitched them around, so these ones in this area, if I play those for you. And again, just using Logic's pitch and taking various segments. You've got the intro, you've got the reverb tails, etc. And then this hit is a variation of this Blow Your Load sample, and it's already an F, so I didn't need to pitch it. And again, just taking slightly different parts of the sample to create a bit of rhythm through the track. And all I've got is a bit of EQ, just taking out any boxiness and side EQ. And on this first hit, I've got an enveloper, just taking away the attack. So we take that off, it was a bit harsh. So just makes a bit of room for the kick as well, because they're hitting at the same time. So we've got those three samples. Then we've got this effects sample, which sounds like this, called I Broke My Bike. If we take that one out, you really notice it's not there. Okay, if we add it back in. Okay, so again, this is something that I do quite a lot. I add in just weird effects in the background. Often I find on the same hit as a snare works really well, but obviously it depends on your track. But they really sort of bring out rhythm within tracks. That's a good little tip, is find a weird sound and see what you can do with it in your track. And then the only other bass hits are these two. Alright, so the screamy bass hit here is just a dry hit, so nothing to do with that. And then the panic one, just got a bit of reverb on it, so I take all that off. There we go. That's the bass sound. So as quick and easy as that. Probably took 4 or 5 minutes just to piece everything together, and we got this. Alright, so let's move on to the sub then, and it's exactly the same. It's just I've used this linear EQ. I find it's a bit cleaner than the normal one in Logic, just to get rid of the high end and leave just the sub. Alright, then the only thing of any importance here is this track spacer sidechain with a kick. So again, giving yourself a bit of room so that everything in the track can breathe. And that is that, really. Really simple, really quick. Probably took about 10 to 15 minutes in total to make this. And you guys can do it too if you go and get the pack. There's just one more thing I'll talk about on my master chain. Now, this is probably what you shouldn't do in production, but I do it anyway. I've got a compressor working as a gain plugin, doing nothing else, and that runs into Camel Fat. Now, Camel Fat is doing literally nothing apart from acting as a limiter. So if you can get hold of Camel Fat, highly recommend it if you can find it somewhere. If you've got a 64-bit problem, there is a plugin called 32-bit Lives, which will convert your 32-bit plugins to 64. Really good. Highly recommend getting that. So yeah, the camel fat works really, really good as a limiter you can just smash into, and it's actually quite clean as well. Anyway, apart from that, I've got a gain plugin which is turning everything mono. Just so you can check your mixes in mono, and then this MSED plugin, I can't remember the name of it, but this is just giving me only the stereo information. If I turn that on. So that's really useful if sometimes you're not quite sure what's going on in the sides. You can just pinpoint it. And then I use Logic's multimeter just to see what's going on. Okay, now what I'll do is set this bar at -6 RMS, and this is sort of my target. Hopefully I'm normally going over it because everything's so loud now. But basically, if I can get things to hit around -6, just using the gain and camel fat, and everything's sounding clean, then I know the mix is pretty good. If I'm struggling to get there, then I know I need to go back and address any issues there may be. Most issues will involve transients and the relationship between the kick and the sub a lot of the time, or making room for your snare against your hi-hats, for example, so like using the compressor to make a bit of room. But I hope you've enjoyed this really quick tutorial, and go and get yourselves a copy of the sample pack. I use it myself, I helped contribute to it. It's got some really, really good sounds on there, so go and check it out. Yeah, thanks. I've been Gigante. Stay safe.